Stepping onto the bridge of the USS Aegis in Star Trek Bridge Crew is a dream come true for a lot of Trek fans. It lets you experience the fantasy of manning a Federation starship with 3 of your friends, and like most multiplayer VR games, it's hilarious to mess around with as you learn how things work. But by the time I was beyond cadet level, it became clear there's virtually no depth to it. The attention to detail on the bridge sets is great, even though the character models and effects are poor, and using the virtual touchscreen controls in front of you feels awesome. I wish I could wander around the bridge and take it all in, but you're glued to your seat. Because tasks are divided between stations, there's a fair amount of interplay between crew members. The engineer has to charge warp coils before the helmsman can engage, and the tactical officer has to scan an anomaly so the helmsman knows whether to avoid it. That's interfered with by some unreliable Uplay voice chat, which has a really bad habit of cutting out seemingly at random. But the first couple of times playing through the handful of available half-hour missions is magical, like living out a classic Star Trek blooper reel where Scotty forgets how to turn on the warp drive and Chekhov can't figure out how the shields work. About 80% of what you're doing in Bridge Crew is combat, or trying to steer around enemies to avoid combat, and that's disappointingly simple. There's no need to rotate through phaser arcs or keep your strongest shields toward the enemy. There are few enemy ship types to deal with and no significant difference on how to handle them. You scan them, disrupt their systems, and fire away. And there's no way to coordinate with other Starfleet ships. Especially compared with old Star Trek combat sims like Starfleet Command or Bridge Commander, Bridge Crew comes off as disappointingly superficial. Another issue is that most of the job of combat falls on the helm and tactical positions. The captain has very little to do, and the engineer doesn't even have a sensor screen to see what's going on. Plus, the task of repairing the ship involves a lot of watching progress bars fill up, with no opportunity to feel like a miracle worker. After the campaign, there are the continuing Voyages, which are randomized versions of the same defend, rescue, and research missions. The randomization doesn't add much to it though, and many of them end uneventfully. Bridge Crew feels like a promising first draft of a fantastic Star Trek simulator, but it needs a refit before it'll be ready for anything close to a 5-year mission. For more, check out some Bridge Crew gameplay, our Star Trek Beyond review, and George Takei's favorite Star Trek moments.